Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Our sign anchor tonight is Joyce Wairimu, and we'll be talking to Professor Naituli Gitile, who is the former commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, just to understand more about the whole process of BBI and what will happen next. And remember, like we said, it is not time to celebrate yet, so you do not want to miss that part of the interview. But for now, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga allies united to pass the BBI Bill 2020 in the Senate, and more than 2/3 of the senators voted in favor of the bill, with only 12 voting no. And as our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim tells us, focus now shifts on to the High Court as a 5-judge bench are set to make their judgment on 7 petitions challenging the BBI process.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Nandi, and their message is loud and clear, I vote no.
It was a do or die for 67 senators as the fate of the Building Bridges Initiative bill hanged in the balance. Their colleagues from the National Assembly already passed the bill without amending it resoundingly. Only a few remaining senators have the chance to state their final remarks on the said bill at the floor of the House.
And as such, Mr. Speaker, with a bulging debt, an economy on its knees, bread now being taxed, baby formula being taxed, I vote no to this excessive...
And shortly afterwards, the senators prepared themselves to vote for the said report. Allegiances came out clearly as they were voting. Leaders allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga were leaving nothing to chance but to ensure the report sees the light of day.
Mr. Speaker, I, James Orengo, on behalf of the people of Siaya, and knowing that the philosophy of this bill comes from the handshake, and it took 2 great statesmen, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga, I vote yes.
However, on the other hand, Tanga legislators allied to the Deputy President William Ruto were trying to marshal votes against the bill.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Murang'a, who got 1 constituency, the people of Nyeri, Nyandarua, Tharaka, who got 0 constituency, fearful of the taxes that we raise to support an enlarged parliament. And cause losses to Murang'a businesses. And urging the government to expect...
Senator, order, Senator. Order.
You say that will not speak.
Order. Senator Kangata. Senator.
No.
Senator.
You say that will not speak.
Senator Kangata.
Speaker,
Senator.
be fair.
You are pushing me. Order. Order. Take your seat.
And when the dust settled, more than 2/3 of 52 of the 67 senators voted in favor of the bill, with only 12 voting no. Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka ruled out amending the Constitutional of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020. Lusaka said the bill is a product of a popular initiative and thus Parliament has no power to tinker with the document. The Speaker said that Kenyans have sovereign powers to amend the Constitution and that the Parliament, through its delegated authority, cannot interfere with that.
Honorable Senators, in light of the foregoing and supported by the findings of the committees, there is need to protect the sovereign will of the people indeed. The committees of the 2 houses which consider this bill found at paragraph 364 that pursuant to Article 257(10) of the Constitution, Parliament cannot replace or usurp the people's views on a popular initiative with its own.
Now, despite the report being passed at the National Assembly as well as the Senate, the focus now shifts on the High Court. Proponents of the Building Bridges Initiative BBI bill will on Thursday know whether the proposed constitutional amendment can go for a referendum. Justices Joel Ngugi, George Odunga, Jairus Nga, Janet Mulwa and Chacha Mwita are set to make their judgment on 7 petitions challenging the BBI process. The petitioners in the case include economist David Ndi, Kenya National Union of Nurses, 254 Hope, Justice Juma, Morao Moke, Isaac Aluochier and Muhuri. Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
Thanks, Abdi. And elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta will have to wait for the court's verdict that is on Thursday before making a determination on the constitutional amendments bill sponsored through the Building Bridges Initiative, that is BBI. This follows after the Senate and National Assembly overwhelmingly passed the bill, which now awaits for the presidential assent. Our reporter Jeff Kaemba with more details on that story.
The process of amending the Kenyan Constitution is still on course after the legislators in the National Assembly and the Senate overwhelmingly supported and passed the BBI bill. By now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has the audacity and the powers to assent it into law or actually direct the Electoral Board IBC in conducting a referendum. But the decision by the head of state lies in the hands of the courts, which on Thursday shall be making a determination whether the president will have the powers to assent to the bill. 7 cases which were consolidated at the High Court under various petitioners are before a 5-judge bench seeking interpretation on the constitutional amendments bill through the BBI process. But as the proponents and the opponents face off in a legal battle, a section of the members of parliament led by Rahim Dawood of Imenti North and Imran Okoth of Kibra are confident Kenyans will have a referendum as soon as possible.
It's a sign which shows that this country cannot be taken hostage. And from this, I think it should go to the president, hopefully today from the Senate. I know National Assembly Speaker has already taken it to the president.
Bunge la Seneti imepiga kura na wamesema ndio wameweza kupitisha ile mswada wa BBI. Hii inamaanisha kwamba hivi karibuni tutakuwa tunaelekea katika referendum, wananchi waweze kuamua kama wangetaka mageuzi ya katiba ama la.
Speaking at parliament buildings, the leader said parliament acts as a conveyor belt and thus it's upon the Kenyans to decide the future of the country, urging the courts to consider the matter as of public interest.
Tumwachie mwananchi kufanya uamuzi.
But I believe from the way things are going, it's a popular initiative and people should not stop it from going to the people.
But their remarks have been sharply opposed by the nominated member of parliament, David Sankok, who says it's the discretion of the head of state to decide on whether to have a referendum or not.
Meaning now we are waiting for the Attorney General to advise the president if all the articles are, that have been touched in the Constitution, it warrant a referendum or the president will sign and become law. It is only in Article 257, sub-article 10, that it says that if either houses of parliament fail to pass constitutional amendment bill, then the bill goes direct to the people. So I don't know ulikuwa unamaanisha nini ukisema sasa inaenda kwa referendum.
Sankok, who is an ally of the Deputy President William Ruto, is confident the president shall assent the bill into law and not allowing the Electoral Board IBC to subject the Kenyans into a referendum.
And I've read this BBI from page 1 to the last page, and I don't think it warrant a referendum. Referendum ambao Raila Odinga atatumia kama campaign tool kutumia state machineries. Kwa sababu we know, he's very well known that he does not use money in any campaign. Kwa hivyo this time round alikuwa anataka kuavoid pesa ya campaign kwa kwenda referendum. Lakini mimi najua rais wangu amemuonea mbali.
Opposition Chief Raila Odinga, after the Senate and the National Assembly passed the bill, applauded the two houses of yielding to his quest. A reporter for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Kaemba.
Thanks, Jeff. And of course, like we said, tonight we want to speak to Professor Naitule Gitile, who is the former commissioner, that is NCIC, just to get a feel of what happened this afternoon at the Senate and, of course, moving forward, what's going to happen, and especially at the BBI bill. Professor, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. It's good to see you once again after quite a bit of time. And I just want to start with, what is your feel, of what happened this afternoon, that is Tuesday afternoon, at the Senate, in terms of what happened, how some of the senators actually aired their views as far as BBI is concerned. What do you make of it?
I think the Kenyans, sometimes you are forgetting that without dissent, without a differing opinion, then we have no democracy. So we need to appreciate, of course, people talk with emotions. That is all fine. They should talk with emotions. That's why we have the Senate, that's why we have the Parliament, so that you let it off. But when you go out, you are still a Kenyan, and you are still together. So I think we are forgetting the essence of democracy. Democracy is what was happening in the Senate. When people oppose the motion, we should love them. Just as much as also you love those who support it. So I think we need a schooling on what democracy is all about. Democracy is about the majority having their way and the minority having their say. And you still remain in one team. That team is called Kenya. That team doesn't change. You are all team Kenya when you differ and when you agree.
But of course, Professor, I mean, we haven't seen that aspect of upholding democracy so much, and especially when it comes to political parties and political allies, and of course, a case in point of nominated senator, that is Isaac Mora, who was, until a few minutes ago, actually, his seat was declared vacant simply because he is supporting, Deputy President, that is Dr. William Ruto. But of course, we'll come back to that aspect of, again, what do you make in terms of some of the political parties or leaders who are somewhat making, the political parties their own projects? And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But of course, that aspect of then 51 senators actually ruled in favor of the BBI, and then we have a number of them, that is 12, who actually voted no for the same. But we also witnessed a case of shifting in allegiance, and that is on the floor of the House. Do you feel this will have an impact in 2022?
No, I think there's a lot that a lot of people don't understand.
Okay.
And what they don't understand is local politics. If my constituency is being split into two, and I happen to belong to Kieleweke or Tanga, I will vote yes if I belong to Tanga because my constituency is being split. Never mind that the money which will come actually will be the same, because you say you have 4 people, you are dividing 100 shillings, everybody will go with 50 shillings. But when you have 6 people and you are dividing 100 shillings, the money will be less. But that is not mathematics where we have not reached as a people to make the calculations. So people are forgetting there is local politics also to deal with. So I don't think this means anything for the future. I think this is just a vote in the parliament, and that's it. And the members of parliament voted their interest, given where they are coming from and so on. It has nothing to do with the positions that the people may take in 2022.
Okay. Do you feel that was the case today? I mean, I understand what you're saying. What happened today was a case of democracy and people just voting in regards to what will benefit them. But at the same time, I mean, we saw a lot of senators, and of course, one of them, Senator James Orengo, who at some point was opposing to, again, some clauses of the bill. But today we witnessed him voting yes, for the same. So would you say, it was a case of yes, trying to understand this will benefit my constituency, so I'm going to support this, vis-a-vis the earlier on where they were actually strongly opposing, a section of BBI. And of course, some of them were actually, citing typographical errors.
I think that is a case of their party leaders telling them what to do, how to vote. The law requires parties to practice democracy internally within the parties. But sometimes the party leaders take a position and they insist that that is now position of the party without calling a party meeting. Ideally, you should call a party meeting so you take a collective decision. But it looks like the party leaders are increasingly becoming powerful. Let me put it that way. So Orengo, TND, Molo, and all that, these are indications that the party leaders are having power and flexing muscles, because I think they have followers on the ground. Remember, the politicians act depending on the personal interest. And the personal interests sometimes are determined by how many people listen to them.
I mean, but Okay, so I get the aspect of then political leaders. And again, yes, this is your leader, so somewhat you should follow what the leader says. But then again, to what extent? Because at the same time, let's say Senator James Orengo and Otiende Amolo were not okay with a certain clause, let's say, on the BBI, then they have, let's say, the right to voice it out and probably get to see if there's a way that that can be amended so that then they can support it fully, or whatever the leader says, you have to go that way.
The danger that I foresee is if we continue like that, then people will argue that why do we then need the parliament?
Okay, okay.
That's how they will argue, because you see, you're supposed to vote your conscience sometimes. You are also supposed to vote your electors. That is you and me. That is the constituency. But if you are going to vote because your party leader says so, then we can as well have only the party leader and not you. So, so the risk the Orengos of the day are taking is that they're informing Kenyans that the parliament may not matter in the future, and that is not very good for the country.
Okay, because again, that is what was witnessed, because at the end of the day, they were strongly against some of the clauses, and like you said, we should not go that way. People should have, and even let's say Kenyans in general should have the freedom to voice out their issues. And earlier on, when we started the interview, you said at the end of the day, if you support or if you, oppose, at the end of the day, all views matters. But that is not what we're witnessing, Professor, right now in the current, political leadership in the country, where if you're not supporting, let's say, what the party stands for, or if there are things that, let's say, the party is not doing right and you do not support it, then, of course, one of the things that happen is being, let's say, chased out of the party just like that. So this is a problem, yes, but of course what you're saying is we do not want to make this seem as a problem, and especially for the future. But it's what is happening now in the parties.
Yeah, what is happening, I think, is a bit unfortunate. I think members of parliament should be able to exercise freedom to effectively represent the people. And you want to assume that the previous positions were probably people's positions, but then there is lobbying in between which changes them. But like I said, they are taking a very big risk. We need the Kenyans to believe in the parliament. We need Kenya to believe in institutions that have been created by the 2010 Constitution. Because the moment the parliament behaves like this, people will start saying, oh, then why do we need it? I mean, it's supposed to stand up for us. But we have seen that this parliament has been a bit weak. I mean, what I said really stood up for. It's been a bit weak, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Generally, democracy has taken a beating since 2006. And I don't know what's happening. War on the wind. But it's resilient. And I think it will stand up again, because there is no other better method which we have invented, which can govern political affairs, which now are filtered to resource distribution and so on. There is no other better method than the democratic method. So, in an attempt to make these parties absolutely like the American party, it will confuse us here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Professor, then I don't want to lose that part of the conversation. And before we talk about then, of course, the court is expected to rule on Thursday to just determine whether, again, BBI will go for a referendum or not. How then do we change that narrative in terms of now so many Kenyans actually, have that idea that then the parliament is not powerful, because at the end of the day, they're not able to debate and come up with, let's say, policies, that will change the country and will favor the common mwananchi. It's going according to what the party says, and if you are against the party, then you're kicked out. So what do we do to change that narrative? Where do we need to start?
I think you need to start with the coming election.
Okay. Okay.
And the people who voted again, what you felt that they should have, they didn't then punish them in the poll, because there is no other way. Of course, the Constitution gives us a provision to recall the members of parliament. If 25% of the electors in a constituency decides to recall, you can recall. But that has not been exercised by any constituency since the Constitution was promulgated on August 27 in 2010. So I'm just hoping that the Kenyans are watching, just like you are, and that they will take note, because that's the point, so that during the election, they are able to say, hey, wait a minute, we sent you to go and speak for us, not the party leader. If they can do that, then we can correct. Otherwise, we just may have to learn to live with a very, very weak parliament, I guess.
Which, like you said, is very dangerous, for the development of the country.
It is dangerous
Professor.
for the future. Yes, it is dangerous, because the people of Kenya need to believe that the institutions can actually protect them. You see, we set up the constitution in 3 ways. To have what is called the checks and balances. So we set up an independent judiciary, we set up an independent parliament, and the executive. The idea is the 3 branches need to check on each other, so there is no excesses on any. So once the parliament fails to do its role, then as ordinary citizens, we may begin to think that let's cut the costs, let's just have the president, the executive, and the judiciary. And these ones, we can close them entirely. Now, that is losing faith in the government and in governance, and that doesn't help us. So these MPs need to understand that they could be making, they can create also what is called the apathy. That people say, oh, look, I've not been protected for the last 5 years, so you are telling me to go and vote for what? Now, that's why we need to carry out our responsibilities with some seriousness.
All right, I like that aspect of seriousness. All right, so as we finish, Professor, very briefly, and not to preempt what's going to happen on Thursday, but like we said, and we all know a 5-judge bench has been constituted to, again, give a ruling on Thursday, and this is based on the 7 petitions that are actually challenging the proposed constitutional amendment. So like I said, not to preempt, but what should we expect from the court?
I think if this court is also quite independent, they may very well declare the process neither parliamentary nor public. Remember, the Constitution only gives 2 ways on which we change the Constitution. Parliamentary initiative or public initiative. So the process is neither of the 2. I'll be surprised if they don't say that.
Okay. All right. And Professor, we're going to leave
and
it
if
at
they,
that.
they say that, then they stop the reggae.
Okay. All right. So, Professor, let's leave it at that, because like you said, we do not want to preempt too much. We'll have to wait until Thursday. And of course, that is all of us, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is supposed to actually assent, the bill. But he's also going to wait until Thursday when the court will rule against the same. Because remember, like we said, 7 petitions that actually challenge the proposed constitutional amendment. So that's all the time we had, for the interview. Professor Naitile Gitile, who is the former commissioner and CIC. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking to us tonight. Always a pleasure to speak to you, and we hope to speak to you soon.
And good night to you and your viewers.
Thank you very much, and good night to you too, Professor. And of course, still on Matters BBI, well, it is a reprieve for nominated senator, that is Isaac Mwaura, after a court stayed his removal pending the hearing and determination of his appeal. Mwaura's seat had been declared Tuesday afternoon vacant by Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka, following a decision by Jubilee Party to expel him after he was accused of campaigning for a candidate of a different political outfit. And as our reporter, Jeff Chaimba, reports, the case is slated for hearing on May 24th.
My good brother Frank Mwendani must have gone to the internet to look for anything that would appear a fishing expedition. Things that were done in 2020. Why didn't you call me that time?
Is it a rise and fall of Isaac Mwaura? A once vibrant supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta on Tuesday was humbled on the floor of the House following a Gazette notice to oust him as the second-time senator. The vocal Mwaura, who represented the person with disabilities, as the Senate came into force with his ruling party of Jubilee, mainly President Uhuru Kenyatta, over his remarks which were termed to be derogatory.
Familia ya Kenyatta walitawala miaka 15 na ingine inaenda kuisha 10. Hiyo ni miaka 50. Tunasema imetosheka hiyo, tusonge tujipange kama vijana. Ama namna gani? Hata sisi kwa watu wamezaliwa, hakuna mtu ambaye hajazaliwa hapa na baba yake.
It was the statement by Mwaura Wailidi coming to the UDA party affiliated to Deputy President William Ruto that made him ruffle feathers with the head of state, and on Tuesday he was asked. The decision was made moments after Mwaura had voted for the contentious constitutional amendments bill sponsored through the BBI process.
To ensure that the people of Ruiru have enough representation and enough resources to the county of Kiambu, I vote yes.
Senators who are the supporters of Deputy President William Ruto made a clarion call to the Speaker Kenneth Lusaka to withdraw the notice. However, this fell on deaf ears.
Mr. Speaker, this is the first time in the history of Kenya when a member of the House has lost office through this process. I request you to make your own decision. And there is nothing inferior or nothing untoward if you considered or reconsidered your own decision, Mr. Speaker.
This House, that Mr. Speaker, we must be careful. I beseech you and I beg of you, Senator Isaac Mwaura is one of us.
Senators James Orengo of Siaya County and Moses Wetangula Bungoma County of their party said Mwaura's fate has already been sealed after the gazettement.
But we are not going to help by pleading with you when the thing is already in the Gazette notice. Not even the President of the Republic of Kenya can do that, by the way. Once he gazettes something under an instrument of the law, it is over.
Neither the government printer, nor the Speaker of this House, nor any person other than the High Court can expunge that Gazette notice. So we can debate here, Mr. Speaker, for the next 1 hour and say a lot of things, very colorful language, quote the law, quote Shakespeare, quote Greeks, quote everybody. But Mr. Speaker, eventually, it is a matter of application of the law.
The only thing I can promise, one or confirm, is that at the time I sat here, I had not seen any court order. Because remember, we came here at 10. Number two, on Tuesday, I will avail all the documents that led to that decision.
Mwaura is among the 6 nominated Jubilee senators on target after defining the party positions. The others waiting for their fate are Millicent Omanga, Mary Seneta, Falhada Deko, Naomi Wako and Victor Prengei, for associated with the Deputy President William Ruto. Senator Mwaura was picked to represent the persons with disability will be replaced by Joyce Amasong, who is listed under the same category. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
Thanks, Jeff. And of course, let's put a pause on BBI matters and politics. And moving on, a girl living with disability from Kitui County has beaten all odds and topped in the just released 2020 KCSE results. Gloria Nzomo, who emerged as the 12th candidate nationally, says despite experiencing stigma, she did not.
The jubilation of the just released 2020 KCSE results continued being witnessed across the country. The motto of hard work pays being written all over from the best performance who sat for the exams. The 2020 KCSE candidates countrywide celebrating their outcomes barely a day after CS George Magoha announced the results. In Kitui County, Glorious Nzomo, a young girl living with a disability, is among the top 15 best performers in the just released results. Nzomo, a student at the Moi Girls in Nairobi, despite enduring the odds such as stigmatization, she still was the 12th nationally, having scored an A-.
I've been following up teachers. I've been following what they've been telling me. My teachers were so supportive, like walaniambia, Gloria, you can make it, you can make it. So nikaona, okay, if these teachers were supportive, so supportive to me, so I really have the potential.
Very much excited today to celebrate my daughter as among the top 15 in nationwide.
Also in Garissa County, Joseph George Mgisheru struck to the light as the best performer in the county, having topped again way back in 2016 in KCPE. Gisheru, faced by hardships on both occasions, says he was not surprised by the good grades, only that he didn't expect to be among the top in the country.
And the time I was in primary school, it was really a tumultuous period, attacks and everything. You know, you have to go early to school. You arrive home a little bit late. There were security issues, but even in all through those challenges, you know, I had to read. So I want to tell you something: just ignore the challenges. You're not the only one, the only students in the country facing challenges.
Meanwhile, as others jubilated on the good performance per the expectations, others were met with disappointments. At Uhuru Boys Secondary School in Nairobi, the top student, Rudni Baraza, says he expected more than what he got in the just released results.
And I scored a mean grade of B+. Honestly, at first time I was shocked. I cried because it wasn't the grade I expected. I expected to score an A, but I was told to just take it and accept it.
And finally, in Mukuru slums, the situation was no different. The schools stashed in populated area also rose to the ranks and kept par with a brilliant performance, despite being met with challenges such as maintaining the expected COVID-19 regulations that are hard to maintain in slum areas.
Because you understand the location that we are in, our school is located in slums area. But I've been able to cope with the challenges because I've always been working hard in my studies and also praying, because God is the one who has made all this to happen.
In the just concluded KCSE results, over 893 candidates scored grade A, with 143,000 gaining access to universities, was the remaining 600,000 expected to join TVETs. Melia Kisenya for Ebru TV.
Congratulations to all the 2020 KCSE candidates. And on that note, we take a short break. We still have a lot in store for you, including business and sports news. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, family breakups has hindered the progress of children in schools and has contributed to low performance in the Coast region in the national examinations. This is according to Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Executive Twalib Mbarak, who further said the problem has contributed to low education standards and increase in cases of drug abuse among youth who drop out of school.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Twalib Mbarak, said parenting has collapsed in the coastal region as women are bringing up their children alone, whether they are divorced or not.
Dada zetu wanalelea watoto peke yao. Marriage iko, hakuna zile talaka ziko, broken marriages, na kama iko mzee haonekani. Lakini mzee yule ana pesa za miraa, ana pesa za kustarehe, lakini kupeleka watoto shule ataongea hana. Malezi muhimu sana. Lazima mtoto anaanzia akiwa na wazazi. Ikiwa wazazi nyinyi hamuna ule mwelekeo, basi watoto wataharibika.
He said some of the men could be having money for mirror and having fun and cannot provide education for their children. Mbarak said if children lack proper parental guidance at childhood stage, then they stand to be spoiled and end up in drugs.
Mtakuja kulia wajua sisi Old Town squeeze Malindi haribika, watu wote walaunga. Tuangalie tulilelea watoto namna gani.
Masuala ya education ni muhimu sana. Kwa ajili sisi leo tuko hapa, tumeamua tuje pamoja na Mbarak na wenzetu wengine.
The SCC CEO, who was born and brought up in Kabaoni Kilifi within the Giriama community, said there used to be a time when schools like Shimolatewa did well, but the performance has really gone down of late. Mbarak said sometimes to see advertisement in the country seeking 10 positions of engineers, but out of like 400 applicants, only 6 could be from the coastal region. On his part, Kingi contributed the poor education standards in the coastal region to poverty, saying majority of the bright students hail from poor families that cannot afford their fees.
Na hatuwezi kuwalaumu watoto wetu kwa sababu hawana elimu. Kitu kimoja ambao kinachangia kuzorota kwa elimu hapo pwani ni umaskini. Kuna watoto werevu, lakini kwa sababu wazazi wao hawana pato, wanabaki nyumbani.
Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
And the Ministry of Health has announced 356 new COVID-19 infections in the country in a span of 24 hours, representing 8% positivity rate. The cases were from a sample size of 4,424, raising the total number of confirmed cases in the country to over 163,000. In a statement, Health CS Mutahikagwe said that 21 more people have succumbed to the illness. According to the statement, there are 329 Kenyans and 27 foreigners among the new infections, with 200 males and 156 females. Majority of the new cases have been reported in Nairobi, with 95 cases, Kisumu 51, Mombasa 46, Kisii 18, Kericho and Nyamira 15 cases each, Kitui 13, Kiambu, Homa Bay and Kilifi 11 cases each, while Vihiga, Baringo, Embu, Garissa, Migori and Makueni reporting 1 case each. Health CS Mutahikagwe said that 129 people have recovered from the virus, out of which 64 are from the home-based isolation and care, while 65 are from different health facilities. Total recoveries now stand at 113,057. Kagwe also announced that a total of 1,105 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 4,749 patients are on home-based isolation and care. 128 patients are in ICU, 23 of whom are on ventilatory support and 76 on supplemental oxygen. 6 are in high dependency unit. 21 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, 3 having occurred in the last 24 hours, 16 on diverse dates within the last 1 month, and 2 are late deaths reported after conducting facility record audits. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 2,928. To date, over 921,000 people have been vaccinated. Now, Wachira Kabinga, the new chair of the Labour Committee, has vowed to look into Mwende Mwinzi's case, that is the ambassador from Kenya to South Korea, regarding her dual citizenship. This comes moments after the Mwe legislator took control of the Labour Committee after being elected unopposed by the said committee. Wachira, before the changes, was a chair and member at the Departmental Committee on Administration and Security. And meanwhile, legislator Peter Mwathi has been reassigned to Departmental Committee on Administration and Security, where he will take charge as the chair of the committee.
I will hand over to you. The clerk, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order number 179-2, appointed Tuesday, 11th May 2021, as the date for the election of the chair. As at the close of business on Monday, that is yesterday, 10th May 2021, the only nomination paper received and determined to be duly filled and in compliance with the standing orders is that of the Honorable Kabinga Wachira, MP.
This committee deals with social welfare mostly. We oversight Labor and Social Welfare Ministry. We oversight NYS. We oversight NSSF. We oversight the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. We oversight the Youth Department. So therefore, it is a very important, it is the most important committee in Kenya. And we had Honorable Peter Mwathi, who was a very good chairman, but I'm sure Honorable Kabinga will fit into those shoes. We are the most active committee in Parliament.
I feel great honored to have joined this great committee, having been a member of administration and national security. This is a new environment for me. Being now having to look at the social welfare and the labor movement in this country, and in general the labor market in this country. This is indeed a very, very, very important committee. It cuts across all departments. All departments. There is not a single department you talk about there being no issues of labor. And therefore I'm joining this committee knowing very well that is a heavy duty, but I'm encouraged to have found great brains in this committee.
And And in business, potato traders risk a 3-year jail term or a 5 million shillings fine if they violate the Crops Regulations 2019, where a sack of potatoes should not exceed 50 kilograms. Agriculture and Food Authority Acting Director General Kello Harsama said they have launched a sensitization drive and crack down on traders violating the new rules. Farmers have been encouraged to form associations and equally register with their respective counties. Last week, Meru County Security arrested 5 traders and vehicles carrying potatoes packed with extended bags. Some farmers decried harassment by traders when the traders pack potatoes in extended bags and underpay the farmers. The use of the extended bags has been used by some unscrupulous traders to deny farmers their hard-earned money. The Crops Regulations 2019 stipulate that if caught transporting potato bags that contain 50 kilograms each, the traders will be jailed for 3 months if convicted or fined 500,000 shillings.
Lakini ile kitu nimeona motion and style vile hii sheria imekuja haita affect kitu chochote njuu ukinunua kilo 50 ukinunua na hata shilingi 10 utauza na shilingi 11. Sasa ile kitu nataka tu kuambia akina mama wa soko ni tubadilisha motion and style of selling, tutumie ratili, si maneno ya misuku.
Tutakuwa tunapima viazi na 50 kgs na hata ikiwa ni kuongezwa pesa tutakataa na tutaendelea kupima viazi na 50 kgs.
The government outlines that maximum weight for each single unit of the package of Irish potatoes shall be 50 kilograms. Traders in the sector have been urged to buy weighing machines so that they can pack their produce in 50 kilogram sacks. Currently, unscrupulous traders have been using extended bags of up to 110 kilograms.
For us as farmers, to get to the final or to get to the last final pay, we require farmer, we require the farmer, the trader, the transporter, and even the consumer. All these people are needed, and they are taken care of in that regulation, because that is why the regulation is not giving instructions on the price. Because the price has to be dealt with by the trader and the producer and the farmer.
Potato Council of Kenya Director Chris Marete said that potato business for long has been grappling with poor regulatory framework and marketing challenges.
The price will be dictated by the prevailing market forces of supply and demand, which is natural and normal in all business environments. Therefore, at no time will the government come in to determine the price of a 50 kg potato bag.
Agriculture and Food Authority Acting Director General Kello Harsama explained that a crackdown will be carried out in all the potato growing counties and sensitization done on traders violating the new rules.
We have been able to arrest a number of traders. We have impounded about 3 vehicles and motorbikes, and the exercise continues. We put up roadblocks. Whenever we have a access point that is manned by the county government, we are also now deploying national police service officers. We are deploying GAO officers whose mandate now is to arrest and ensure the prosecution of those who are flouting the Irish Potato 2019 regulations.
Some of the major producing potato counties include Nyandarua, Meru, Nakuru, Narok, Bomet, Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu. And about 50 workers of an animal feeds company in Mwalem area, Nairobi County, could lose their jobs after a group of youth demolished sections of their premises in an ensuing land debacle. Police came later and used tear gas to disperse the rowdy youth and guard the premises as the owner tried to salvage the remains. The owner, Yasin Bunja, has threatened to close shop if the government does not come up with policies to protect foreign investors.
I was called by my askari at 5 in the morning saying they're breaking the wall and they've come in. Well, they came in, they broke all this place. My man went to the police post here. They couldn't come and assist. By the time Dandora police came, it must have been, what, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock? By that time, they'd bombarded this place. You must have had, I don't know, these guys must have found 500-600 people in here looting. The police are still here and they're not far away. They don't seem to be scared of the law. And I find it frightening, to be honest. I don't know what will happen tonight. Hopefully the police will stay and secure the compound, make sure there's no more looting, damage done. And then we sit and we talk to the powers that be. Maybe it's the CID. We go and say, listen, next move, I don't know what my next move is. First I need to secure the premises, get whatever we can salvage, we salvage, and then we think about it. Come Monday or something, we think about what to do. Do I want to carry on? Do I not? You know, if I don't, yes, people lose their jobs. It's simple as that. Yeah, you know, if there's no law for investors like us, there's no point to work here. We close. We can't work for 20 years and then have it all demolished.
And elsewhere, a Kitui-based women group has protested the recent court ruling legalizing donkey meat and skin trade and reopening of closed donkey abattoirs in the county. In February 2020, the Agriculture CS imposed a ban on the slaughter of the beast of burden due to its dwindling numbers. But on 5th May 2021, the court removed prohibition for the slaughter of donkeys after the state failed to respond to an application challenging the legal notice.
Sasa kwetu tukiwa hatuna punda, hatuna maisha. Juu punda kwetu ndio anashota maji, tunafanya biashara na punda, tunasomesha watoto wetu na punda, tunashota shangalawe tunauza, juu yeye ndio anatutafutia income. Sisi tulikuwa tumeanza kuwa na amani kidogo wakati hiyo vichinjio, wakati zilikuwa zimefungwa. Sasa sisi tunatoa mlio mwingi sana kwa serikali yetu, tunawaomba tena vile ilikuwa, tunawaomba hiyo vichinjio ifungwe kabisa.
Speaking at Kithioko Market after a peaceful demonstration, the anti-donkey skin trades women group lamented the said ruling, citing several challenges that donkey owners face when the donkey abattoirs are running. Legalizing the slaughtering of donkeys leads to loss of livelihoods. Those inhabiting drylands depend solely on the said animal for both labor and income generation.
Sasa naomba serikali itusikilize. Hiyo area yangu kulichinjwa mapunda mpaka hata ile manuko ilikuwa kwa vichaka. Hata sisi hatukuwa tunalala vizuri hata kukula. Ndio walikuwa wanaacha mwili hapo, wanachukua hiyo ngozi. Sasa ni sisi wakati wetu tulikuwa ni kuzika mapunda.
According to Mr. Wambua Kakuli, who is a jobless father of 4, donkeys play a very important role in his life. With his 2 donkeys pulling the cart, he is able to hawk water within Kithioko Market and at least make 1,000 Kenyan shillings in a good day.
Na hiyo ndio tegemeo langu ya kuuza maji, nasomesha watoto. Lakini kuuza hiyo funda siwezi kuuza sababu hiyo ndio tegemeo langu. Kwa siku naweza pata 1,000 na kitu. Na nikihesabu kwa mwezi, hizo ni 1,000 mingi. Nasomesha watoto na hizo pesa, niko na pipi, niko na watoto. Mimi sina hiyo shida mingi.
Mr. Wambua, just like any other local, is able to fend for his family. But now with the donkey skin trade legalized, thieves are set to start stealing donkeys to sell to the already opened abattoirs, including the one near Kithioko Market. Donkeys across the world are being slaughtered for their skin to meet an ever-increasing demand from China, which uses the skin to produce traditional Chinese medicine. Yusuf Abdurrahman, Ebru TV.
Well, let's play. And World Under-20 Local Organizing Committee Chairman, retired Lieutenant General Jackson Tuwei, has assured the rest of the world that the country is on course to stage the prestigious event in August. According to Tuwei, the country has put measures in place to ensure that the event is not only safe from the current COVID-19 pandemic, but also secured from other threats. Tuwei was speaking at Moi International Sports Center, where he received sports kits for officials and volunteers for the World Under-20 showpiece. He said they are still waiting for more consignments for technical training and competition equipment. He said they expected everything to be shipped in by latest July. Tuwei, who is also the Athletics Kenya chairman, said he expects the World Athletics team to arrive in Kenya next month for the final inspection, and it is currently a race against time to ensure everything is aligned.
Narrowing down to the event itself, and I can assure you we have got a security department or directorate that is working overtime to make sure that security for the event, for all the visitors, for all the competitors, is in full swing. So I want to assure all our visitors that they will be comfortable. This is not the first time that we are hosting such an event like this. 4 years ago, we hosted the World Under-18 right here in the same venue. And we had very elaborate protocols in terms of security. So we have just enhanced that security system. So I want to assure everybody that they will be secure, they should not have any issue at all, and they should not fear. They are all welcome to Kenya.
And children under the age of 11 and 13 in the slum area in Mukuru Kwanjenga are receiving football training to nurture their talent, at the same time shun away from criminal and drug use. Since 2008, the children in the age bracket of under 13 years have been receiving training, which has seen some of the young footballers join the top flight teams.
Football has remained to be a darling for many, with every young talent aspiring to star in the national and international scenes. Cyprus football team in Mukuru Kwanjenga has been one of the breeding grounds for the football talents in the country.
Tulipoanzisha team, tuliona talent katika slum ikiwa inadidimia. Na tuna watoto wazuri, tuna wachezaji wazuri katika slum ambao wanacheza mpira. Talent yao iko juu. Kupitia kwa hiyo bila tulianza mpira, tumeona kweli talent ikigrow. Hiyo talent tumejaribu, tumeona vijana wakitoka katika timu hii wakijoin timu zingine kupitia hii talent ya hapa mtaa.
Under head coach Collins Asiaya, these kids have been training here, with football shaping their moral to eradicate criminal activities.
Na venye niliingia walinifunza vitu mingi kutokana na drugs, bad companies. Na nataka kuendelea kuwa mbele, nikuwe kama Michael Olunga na nichezea Harambee Stars.
Kupitia hii talent tumeona tukitoa watoto katika slum wametoka kule wanacheza mpira, wame-avoid mambo kama za drug, criminals, kupitia hii talent ya mpira.
Despite producing some of the good players in the big teams, the coach says according to the talent and commitment from the young boys, he is hopeful that in the near future, the boys will grab some of the best titles in the football game.
Nataka tu kuambia wenye wako nje, wenye wanatembea bad companies, ball inasaidia. Unaweza enda mbali na ball inalipa, inakuweka mbali na drugs na hizo vitu.
Naona vijana wakisonga mbali. Wengi naona wakienda kucheza timu kubwa kama Manchester kule, Arsenal, hizi timu za Kenya, kina Gor Mahia, kina FC. Wakikuja at least wakuja angalia mtaa. Kuna talent ambayo iko hapa na hakuna vile Gostimule utakosa wachezaji katika Harambee Stars. Kuja mtaa, kuja kijiji, upate wachezaji wako hapa wazuri sana.
Just like any other team in the slum setting, the team is facing a challenge on the sports gear and facilitation to play in some of the leagues in the country.
I just want to tell Amina Mohammed, the Cabinet Secretary of Sports, to come and support us in Mukuru slums. This team has so many disadvantages like transport facilities, training equipments like cones, balls. Just Amina to come and support us, and we'll be grateful with him.
Davis Mberia, Ebru Sports.
And on that note, we have to say goodbye right here on Ebru TV Primetime News. But if I do not say this, then I'll be in trouble, okay? So here's the news. Manchester City fans are happy lot tonight, and this is after officially confirmed Premier League champions, and this is after they beat Manchester United 2-1. And of course, this is, you know, they actually experienced a loss, you know, to Leicester City a few minutes ago. So Manchester City are officially confirmed Premier League champions tonight. And on that note, we have to say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Winnie Lubembe, wishing you a lovely night. And of course, on behalf of a very big team behind us who put together and ensure that the bulletin is a success, we say thank you, good night, and God bless. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for My Doctor. But until then, stay safe as always.